How do we, in this new, totally new environment, manage to get our films out, and more, even more, is that they can be seen and appreciated. If people don't go to cinemas anymore, if people will watch other things elsewhere. So this is a major thing, because in the end, the film industry has worked in the same linear way for the past 50, 60 years. You produce, there's a distributor that takes it, and the distributor sells it to cinemas. So there are different systems, depending on the countries. Some countries will be more protectionist and will have rules and regulation to protect their national cinema, but other countries don't have them. And if you look at the statistics every year, in every country, or about every country, it's the same 10 films that gross the biggest money. And of course, you know which are these films. They're the big American, high technical, special effect, value-added films that will cost each film about more than $100 to $200 million to produce, and just as much money in marketing. So how can you compete to that? And it's more and more. Just saw numbers this weekend, I think, I read in Variety or Hollywood Reporter of the ones that are coming out. They can manage to have flops, you know, not too much, because they make so much money. So right away, when you see one film in one weekend recouped $50 million, 2 weekends like that, and they recoup their money. And of course, the new markets. You know, in China, there is 5,000 theaters opening every 6 months, cinema. So they're new markets. And that's where everybody's, I don't know if the Swedes are there, but the Americans are there, the French are there to get open the market in China and in India. So I think that we have to be smart. And I tend to associate with this kind of group of people, because I think that, you know, very committed and engaged and believe very strongly in author film, that we have to be smart and adapt to this reality, not be in denial. Because denial, which was the case of the music business for a long time, because they were the first ones to be confronted with the digital challenge. There was a lot of denial, piracy, piracy, piracy. That was their big, big battle. Of course, they lost it. Any battle on piracy right now is, you know, almost lost. Except if you have cheap products, like they've noticed that since Spotify has been out, there's less piracy of music because it's cheap. But that does not give money to the artists or the musicians or whatever. So I think we have totally to adapt. And this means a lot of pressure in each of the countries to make sure that the systems you have will be flexible enough to permit you to continue to work. But it also means that the distributors, the producers, have to use new means and be more inventive in the way they market their films and where they put their films on, and that is essential. And you have to have a strategies that we call 360-degree strategies that will cover all areas where possibly the film can be used. And also re-question the chronology of platforms. You know, in France they have a law. Do you have a law here about that? No. In France they have a law. The film comes out in theaters. Then there's a blackout for so many weeks or months before it can be sold on VOD. And after that, so many months before they can go on TV, and so many months after that. It's completely stupid. You know, in the first weekend, somebody has gone on to see it, another thing. So in the States now, they've changed. And now there is now simultaneous launchings from on the internet at the same time in the theater. They will withdraw, etc. So you have to be smart and you have to adapt. Each of your film is different and needs another, a strategy in itself, an original strategy. You know, the old recipe of doing always the same thing at the same time for every product, every film does not work anymore. It's completely obsolete, and the numbers are there. Sometimes there are exceptions. But if you look at the exceptions of independent films that have worked, if you really study the case, you'll find out that the producers and the distributors had a very original marketing plan to get it out. For example, Dallas Buyers Club, which was a huge success 2 years. It was a cheap film, $5 million, which, you know, it's not an Hollywood standard-wise, it's, you know, it's nothing. They paid a coffee with $5 million, you know. So they had a very, very original strategy and, you know, got out of the, they were noticed. And of course, the product was good. The film was very good. And they were noticed, and they finally won the Oscars. So after that, they made, of course, a lot of money, because only cost $5 million, and they made maybe $50 or $60 million with that film.